Namaste. Prayers and meditations. Prayer dated February 5th, 1914. What can be said except the same identical aspiration, the law of divine love, the purest expression of what we can conceive of thee, must realize itself more and more upon the earth and triumph over all ignorant egoism. It's a whole program. First is that there is a law of divine love which operates at many levels. That's how it appears very evident in the prayer. So she says, the law of divine love, the purest expression of what we can conceive of thee. So divine can be conceived as Lord of justice, kindness, many aspects of divine. But what is the purest conception of the divine? The divine is love. And then she says, this must realize itself more and more upon the earth. So what is the meaning of the word realize? People often ask what is meaning of word realize and realization. Realize simply means to make real. Right now that love is still operating, but it is not real to us. It's not yet we cannot experience it in the yatharth. So to make it real upon earth. And then she gives what is the process, the path to it, and triumph over all ignorant egoism. So egoism is born out of ignorance. And as long as there is egoism, there cannot be the law of divine love operating. So it is the same old truth that you can either have I or you can either have thou. The two cannot be together. We must become more and more perfectly the faithful servants of that power of love and light. Live in it and by it. It must be that alone which lives and acts in us. So it's a very beautiful, simple program. What is Yoga of Sri Aurobindo? This is the Yoga of Sri Aurobindo. To live in the divine, to live for the divine, to act in the divine, to act for the divine, till the divine alone lives and acts in us and through us. So this is the culmination of yoga. Very simple. Nothing complicated. Simplest of yoga that one can imagine. All the rest is part of that process. Why? Because to live in the divine, ego will come. To live in the divine, our ideas, ignorance, that will come. To become faithful servitor of the divine. So there are many other beings within us and outside us whose servitors we are. So all of this will come in the way. Then even when we want to become faithful servitors, our natural instruments, too much act under impulsions of falsehood and ignorance and unconsciousness. But the program is this. So all that will slowly change. But the program is this, to live in the divine, to act in the divine, to live for the divine and act for the divine. It must be that alone which lives and acts in us, till there is that complete identification. O Lord, become the sovereign master of our lives. So we can look at ourselves and see who is the master of our lives. Normally it is the sense of the little ego, or it is this ego trying to please somebody else, someone or the other, or the desired self. So as long as, or the reason at its highest. So all these masters should not be the masters. The real master is the divine. O Lord, become the sovereign master of our lives and dispel all the darkness which can still prevent us from seeing and constantly communing with Thee. So why we are not able to commune? Because there is the darkness. What does darkness do? It makes us unconscious. It's like the night. It doesn't help us, make us see the sun which is always there. So she is saying, dispel this darkness, so we will be able to commune with you and we will be able to see you. Liberate us from all ignorance. So this is the program, this what should be our constant prayer. Otherwise, we have so many prayers asking so many things. But the real prayer is free us from ignorance, free us from egoism, free us from desires, free us from the clutch of the inconscient, make us more conscious, make us live according to the law of truth or the law of divine love. This should be the prayer. So liberate us from all ignorance, liberate us from ourselves. There are several places Mother speaks of this. Now you see, this completes what the Gita says. The Gita says, Atme Atmano Bandhu Atmanev Ripuratmana. The self is the friend of the self. The self is the enemy of the self. So what do? So she is giving us the next level. So what is she saying? Liberate us from ourselves. He's asking the master, free us from our own self. This is the worst kind of slavery. That we are slaves, as Shobinda puts it in Who? We are slaves to our thoughts where we hold ourselves free. We are caught in the pride and the pomp of the passions. We are slaves to our thoughts where we hold ourselves free. So we trust our thoughts, but we don't trust the divine. That's the paradox of life. So people sometimes ask, but it doesn't doubt and distrust have a place in yoga? So my simple answer is yes, very much. You can doubt yourself. Don't doubt the divine. You can doubt that I have thought like this. My thinking, yes, fine, good. If it helps you, fine. But if you have to doubt, wherever the doubt is saying divine doesn't exist, say that maybe I am wrong. Doubt your own experience if need be. Doubt your own thought if need be. But do not doubt the divine. That is the whole thing. It's not that you have to proceed through doubt. But if you have to doubt one, so trust the divine rather than anything else. Best is to keep open more and more. Liberate us from all ignorance. Liberate us from ourselves, that we may open wide the doors of thy glorious manifestation. So in this yoga, this what is told, open to the mother, become receptive. So what closes the door? Egoism, ignorance. Every thought that turns around myself, ourselves, my this thing, my that, that is like a door which is closed. They are the hinges. And every thought that is directed toward the divine opens the door, as simple as that. Oh, my life is miserable. Oh, my life is so horrible. So what we do? We make it small and we close the door against the grace. Oh, the divine grace has abandoned me. Oh, grace is just an invention of some people. It doesn't exist. So by doing it, we are the ones who are closing the door. Instead, we should say the grace is infinite, our hands are small. So once we remember this, and it's plain logic. I mean, one doesn't have to be, it's very simple. Just imagine the creator with this tremendous creation, just the material creation. And we, with our little mind, think that we can understand him. We can write books on him. Surely he takes a good laugh. He says, okay, fine. If you write a book and tell him, all my theory at the end, there is no creator. And if you were to by chance ask him, he'll say, I like it. I will hide for you. Because your entire thesis is, I don't exist. Then you write another book, he's there, but as a witness. You have to put all your effort. He doesn't help. So he'll say, I like it also. Put in all your effort. Or if you write a book that I have experienced the intervention of grace at every step, he'll say, I like it. I'll intervene at every step. That's how Sri Aurobindo is one of them, that certitudes. In the deep, there is a greater deeps. And at the end, he says, to the materialist, he meets in the bosom of annihilation. And the mother puts it this way, that my child, you don't know how important faith is. If you believe that the divine is cruel and far, he'll be cruel and far. Because that is needed for your progress. If you believe that he will lift you up 1,000 times, he will come and lift you up 1,000 times. Because that is the beauty, that's how we form relation with the divine. If we keep on doubting, you don't exist, so he'll play that game. He'll say, yes. So when he's standing in front of you, then he'll say, you remember, no, that I don't exist. So even when he is standing in all his splendor, you will say, hey, Gwala, chhal karta hai. This cow herds boy, he does a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Be careful. Why? Because that's what our faith is, that he is a trickster. So he says, all right, I am a trickster. I'll do my tricks. So that's where it's so important to open rather than have our own ideas. Liberate us from ourselves that we may open wide the doors of thy glorious manifestation. Every moment he can recreate the universe. He does it. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing which is impossible for the divine. This is the faith we should keep. And don't try to test him. That is how the devil tempted Christ. Oh, you believe you have complete faith in God? Yes. Your Father? Yes. Okay, jump from this tower. He will save you. That was the devil asking him. What does Christ say? One should not tempt the Lord my God. So he can, definitely can. Why doesn't he? Because he's also wise. Heaven's greater love rejects the mortal's prayer. Okay, so don't jump saying God can do everything. That doesn't mean that, he can do everything and he also knows everything. Just leave oneself in his hands and let him take his own time, let him do his will in his own way. That's the simplest and best. Namaste.